Hello, my name is John StFX. Welcome to this ALL24 video. Today, Coach Waterman and I have two very special guests. We have Coach Jim Daley and Coach Dan McNally. Thanks for being with us, coaches.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Awesome. So knowing those guests, the guests we have today, we're going to do a special teams one clip. So Coach Waterman, if you would do the honors of helping me select the play here.
Stop, John.
Okay, so we've chosen a random play. It is a punting situation. I'll make it as large as we can here. So unfortunately, the film starts a little late, but as you can see, you know, the punt team is in a 3rd and 15, about middle of the field. Ball's being snapped from right about the 55-yard line. It looks like we have some kind of a shield punt scheme on the punt team here. So just seeing this, and unfortunately, again, it starts a little late, but Coach McNally, just seeing the field position and kind of the initial alignment, are there any thoughts you have when you see this?
My first thought is, if that's Brian Hope, and it looks like it is, that this is the prime field position, prime position on the field for a cross kick from him. On this hash mark at midfield is when you're most likely to see a cross kick. I don't know if we'll get that on this one. It doesn't look like it by the way they're releasing. But certainly anytime they got over the 45-yard line between the 45s and he was punting, we always were very aware of a cross kick. You know, your fake potential, again, who knows what the score is and what the game situation is. I wouldn't be too worried about a fake at this point in time. And you know, with the St. Mary's, the people they have up front, you've got 6 gunners up there at the guard, tackle, and end spots. So you've got to be able to run with those guys, whether you pick them up right away or whether you double team them or whether you, sort of pick them up down the field a little bit. Brian's a pretty consistent punter as well. So you're not going to be dealing with a 45-yarder followed by a 28-yarder. You know that he's going to get a decent kickoff most of the time. And he places them fairly well as well. Those would be my immediate thoughts looking at this if I was sitting down on a Monday or whatever, looking at our upcoming opponent, or a Sunday. Can't see who the long snapper is.
Hard to see, and we'll check out the tight sort of afterwards. But Coach Daley, any additional thoughts when you see the field position or not knowing the situation of the game?
Well, I agree with Dan that 3rd and 15, you can decrease the emphasis on fake alert, but with Hope, for example, you always have to 100% defend the scramble alert. He's going to take off regardless of yardage. If he sees no edge, he can take off. He does a great job with it. He's very athletic. So you always want to make sure you've contained the scramble, even though you're not as worried about the fake. So that's one thing I'd be conscious of. Regardless of, once you hit midfield, he's got a chance that he can scramble if a snap's off, or he has the ability to be catching the snap and he sees the rush. And if there's no color coming upfield, if there's no purple, you run the risk of him taking off. And he's done it at 3rd and long. So I'd be conscious of that.
Perfect. Let's we'll watch it through here a little bit, see what we can see. So look, don't know the wind or anything, but he got a good hold of this one, and then the returner's retreating to kind of field it. I think that's a pretty good location there.
There's all sorts of coaching points on that play right there.
A lot happening here, guys. Pipe in if anyone wants to make a point here.
Well, step one is catching that punt, and it's hard to be aware of where the goal line is, you know, if you're the returner. But it's totally different world if you catch it 1 yard on the purple in the end zone or 1 yard on the green. Totally different world. So in this case, it appears he caught it on the green, which runs the risk that St. Mary's could tackle him at the 3, 4, 5. Now, that doesn't happen, but that's the risk. Whereas if he catches it on the purple and gets out to the 1, they're going to get it to the 20. So game awareness for the returner is crucial. And if there's some way of communicating to help him, because right now he can't tell, right there, he can't tell if he's on the purple or on the green. He's focused on the ball.
So is there any advice from any of you guys for that returner? Is he better off letting it bounce, ensuring he's in the end zone, or this is all happening very fast out there?
My recollection is this is the first time this guy was active as their primary returner, and he did an amazing job on this in this one game. Yeah. And I don't think he was back as their primary returner after that. This is the one where I think number 3, one of their guys was out anyway, or maybe it was maybe it was that receiver. Regardless, first of all, he's at the 20-yard line, which means he was given at about the a 30 to 35-yard cushion, which is good, I think, for most kickers in our league. But he really caught hold of this one. Tough to catch that one in the air. And at this point, I thought Bishop's got better week over week in every game over their 2 years of their work ethic on special teams. If you look here, you see a guy on the inside shoulder of every white jersey there, and they're in great position to make legal contact. Their hips are sinking when they're, these guys here, 84, and that's 20. What's his name? This little corner. Those guys are really good cover guys, and they've got this seam right here, and now the only guy filling in there is their center, who's the least athletic of the bunch. And this guy had a bunch of big returns in this game, I recall. But Bishop's has just been getting better at, they had a lot of bluster right away, and they started to back up the bluster a little bit with some good, solid, hard, effort on special teams.
Jerome Erdman coaches their special teams at Bishop's. Yeah. He does a great job. Like Dan's talking about the blocking positions. Just look at the purple shirts. Okay, this is outstanding. There's no hands on the back. See, this returner bringing it out. Well, actually, it didn't go in the end zone, but he catches it at the 1, brings it upfield. If you put a hand on the back, that return's coming back inside the 5. Now, Bishop's is well enough coached and they execute well enough here that they don't take a penalty. There's no hands on the back. It's great play. But the circumstance, first there's the situation of whether he should have caught it or not. Right there. Then the next situation is it was a great return, well executed. But that's hard to always get when you're coming out of your own 1-yard line.
Do you guys have any coaching points for the coverage team? I mean, we hear the term of sort of out-kicking your coverage, but, you don't want to get punished for having such a great punt here. So how do you ensure, things are out of sync a little bit, I suppose, with the long punt, but how do you ensure you don't give up a return like this, guys?
Well, I don't know what language Dan uses, but for us, step 1 is to create a north stop. Take away the vertical, and there doesn't appear at this point in time to be a vertical north stop here.
Someone like on top of the ball.
Or whoever, whether it's your long snapper or the gunner or somebody.
Who's on top of the catch point.
Right, yeah. Respecting a halo on top of the ball. There's no hesitation from the returner here because he's got an alley right now.
And coaches, you mentioned that, and as you come down on coverage and you start to see that longer kick, guys might be assigned a certain spot, but now all of a sudden they're out of sync. Yeah. And how do you work the communication of adjusting between each player? I'll start with you, Dan, on that one.
Adjusting as they're going down the field?
Yeah, in terms of who's hot to the ball. Now he can't get hot. Now who replaces him? How do you talk to your guys about that?
We would have. For us, it's a different setup than here, obviously, because we're going to have our four gunners and wings after the ball, and there's always going to be one on the, you know, on the catch point of the halo, and then 2 guys either side. Getting them into that spot isn't going to change as they go downfield, unless we have, which we have done a bit of, have an overlap guy who is you know, he's kind of assigned to, okay, I'm gonna trail that guy who's on the nose, and if he gets knocked out, I can fill in behind there. We use overlap mostly on kickoff, but also he basically has free reign. He's not going to be constrained by, I've got to be 5 yards outside the guy and at the depth of the ball kind of thing, or I've got to be on top of the ball. He's going to have a little more free reign. It could be an up back. It could be your widest gunner, and then switch someone else to be outside 23, that kind of thing. So you know, yeah, every now and then someone's going to get picked off, and this really came home to me when we played Montreal. You know, we can't leave that. You know, we can't leave it to just one guy to be responsible to be on that halo on the point. We have to have a way of covering that up, rather than just have a hot, warm, cold kind of a thing where, okay, those hot guys are there now, and the next wave of guys, we've got a guy on the ball as well. Well, sometimes that guy isn't going to be as athletic as you might want him to be. Yeah, so the other thing is, I guess when you get the ball kicked out wide, you can switch off. You can have your, you know, again, in our case, a tackle and an up back. You know, that tackle is going to be responsible for, you know, to be outside the numbers or whatever. And then the up back coming down, he's got to fill in kind of depending on where that guy goes. So if he's coming down, if that tackle is coming downfield and he's on his target line and the ball goes outside of that, what does that up back do? You guys returned one on us. It didn't, not the one that went for a touchdown, but the one before that, we had both our up back and our tackle all the way outside the numbers. I think there were 4 guys total outside the numbers eventually. And so that up back, who's kind of at the next level, he's got to see what that tackle's doing and work off of his path. He's got to make him right, both on protection and on coverage, if you get a really wide return, because I don't want him saying, well, I got to keep him on my inside shoulder, coach. Well, if everyone's keeping him on their inside shoulder, we got 3 guys outside the numbers. So there's got to be a little bit of adjustment there. And that's fairly easy to practice with just on air. You know, you're kicking the ball and guys make a decision to go one way or the other, and the other guy makes him right.
That's great. Well, we'll watch the tight here briefly just to see what we can see. And there you get a better look at those wide splits and this kind of shield formation here from the punt team and the body types in the backfield as we talked about. That's great, and a different look at it, and you can kind of see some of the things we talked about being emphasized there. Any final thoughts from you guys seeing it from this angle?
Well, the point Dan was talking about as well, I'll just add one thing, is the word we use is replacement. If you have a assignment as a north stopper or as on top of the ball like Dan used, and you're not there, you have to sort of rep it, and you can do like Dan said, even with air, like in training camp, that if the person who's over top of the ball isn't there, replace him, because that's step 1. And that would usually, in our case, be the field guard. If they've doubled the long snapper, Gordy White, for example, and kept him from getting down to the over top of the ball, we have to have replacement. And then the other thing is, in terms of coverage, I'm not sure how Dan words it, but we would really emphasize never follow our own color, right? Like distribute. So we have replacement of an assignment, and we have distribution of the coverage.
That's great. Well, again, a lot of great stuff from you guys, and really fun sitting and just watching a little football and talking some X and O's with you guys. So thank you very much.
This is a great play by Bishops.
Yeah.
It's a really good play.
Yeah.